Hi there. So it's Faye Johnstone here, and I'm going to talk you through the Plant Spirit Summer School, which is happening over two sessions this year, 2023, in June and July. So I'm actually recording this part of the video from one of the teaching spaces, which is a caravan in the vegetable garden. And there are other spaces throughout the garden, and which I think I'll do another video on that so I can talk you through the garden so you can really see it. So we're based here in Scotland in the Kingdom of Fife, and we're actually on the banks of the Firth of Forth. So to my right is a wonderful body of water, so we get that beautiful air, and over yonder there would be Edinburgh. So that is to kind of locate it for you. So if you're coming from other areas of the UK or further afield, you can fly into Edinburgh, or you can get the train to Edinburgh and come out here. Our nearest place to find us would be, the nearest town is Dunfermline, and we are accessible by bus from there. So getting into the Plant Spirit Summer School, what's it all about and why would you want to come? So it's really an opportunity for you to completely immerse yourself with the spirit of the plants, with plants. We have a former botanic garden here. So it's in a walled garden. Years and years ago, it used to be part of a beautiful estate, as in a big, one of those big houses that had massive gardens that would create the flowers, the food, the fruit, the vegetables, etc. for the estate. So this is a part of that old thing, back from the 17th century, 18th century. And we have a tiny part of it, and it used to be a botanic garden. So it's actually filled with lots of plants which you wouldn't expect to find in Scotland. So we actually have lots of Southern Hemisphere plants. So if you're from the Southern Hemisphere, like South Africa, Australia, New Zealand, there'll be plants which you are very, very familiar with. We've also got some amazing Scottish and the usual kind of things that you would find in Europe and the UK. So it's a beautiful place to be, and the spirits of the land here are wise, welcoming, nourishing. And actually, feedback from everybody last year was that it was actually more of an experience into themselves and a healing journey in terms of personal development than actually relearning about the plants themselves. It's really about opening to what the plants can teach us about ourselves. So part one is happening, let me get the date right here, it's June 17th and 18th. So actually part one is a weekend. It's happening over a Saturday and a Sunday, 2 full days to really immerse yourself with the plants, to get to know different ways that we can connect to plants, to slow down, to be at the pace of plants. We'll go on a herb walk, we'll talk about different herbal preparations, and fingers crossed, depending on the weather, we might even make a flower essence. You never know. You can't necessarily depend on the sunshine here in Scotland, but we shall see. And so that's an opportunity to really, if you're beginning the journey of connecting with plants, or if you are, so if you're a gardener, a herbalist, someone who just loves plants and you're interested, or if you're a Reiki practitioner or other type of therapist and you're just really excited about nature and plants and want to connect and know a little bit more, then that is the weekend for you to come on. Then part two is happening in July, and that's happening on the 14th to the 17th of July. So that actually starts on a Friday evening and it ends on a Monday afternoon. So it's really full on. I used to run part one and part two all together, and we did that last year, and it was actually just too much. We were so blown away by it that that's why I split it up. And so part two really is for you if you want to go a little bit deeper. And this is also an opportunity for those who are interested in Plant Spirit Reiki to train for the Plant Spirit Reiki practitioner certification, because we're as much as we're connected with plants for personal healing, this is where we're stepping into, how would we bring plants and their power and plant spirit medicine into working with a client, for example, perhaps if you're a massage therapist or a counselor or a Reiki professional, for example. So this is where we do the Plant Spirit Reiki syllabus, and we look into different plant blessings, we look at foot baths, we look at different ways that we can be chosen by the plants and bring them into the therapeutic setting, basically. So it is, though it's aimed at those people who practice as professionals, it's not exclusively. So if you are really just keen on plants and you just want to know more about how perhaps you could bring plants into your life to help your friends, family, etc., then by all means, you'll get so much from it. And it's just another opportunity to be here in this amazing space and to take time out for you and to really connect connect and align with your true nature, because this is what working with the plants does. This is how, when we connect with plants, we really feel that vibration of alignment, and then we get to that point where we can heal that stuff which is throwing our vibration off and come into alignment with our truth. Also, part 2 also includes 3 follow-up Zoom classes, so they will be taking place usually August, September, and October, so we are able to continue our journey together, and again continue the learning, share the learning, go a little bit deeper. And then obviously, if you want the qualification, you will have case studies to do, and things like that. So in terms of who, what is the prerequisite for part 2? Do you have to do part 1 in order to do part 2? Well, ideally, yes, because then you're already familiar with this place, you've met the spirits of the land here, and you can, if you're familiar with this place because you've been to part 1, yes, part 2 is going to really get you to go a bit deeper, because you won't have to kind of like get to know, spend the time getting to know this place again, because you already get to know it. So that's the advantage of being able to come for part 1. However, if you are living quite far away and you can't, you don't want to kind of travel twice up here, then the prerequisite really for part 2 is prior knowledge, prior courses. Perhaps you've done prior courses with me, or read my books, done some of my online courses, for example, and you're familiar with plant connection, or perhaps you're familiar with shamanic journeying or meditation, or it's really something that you have done before and is part of your way of being, your philosophy of life, if you like, working with the plants. So for part 2, and yes, Plant Spirit Reiki Level 1, for example, that's an online course. So that's something that you could take, for example, before coming and joining part 2. But anyway, to join us with part 2, just really get in touch and let me know what training you've had, if you're only thinking of being able to come to part 2 and you can't come to both parts. But if you can come to both parts, the more the merrier, then that is absolutely wonderful, and that's what I love. What else have I got here that I wanted to run you through? Something else just to mention, really, I suppose, I think what the reason I've started doing this, people are saying, is this the only way to do Plant Spirit Reiki practitioner training? Yes, it is at the moment. I toyed for a while with running it online, and honestly, just these connections that we make with the plants in person are really, really the key. So learning online, when I'm not really connected to the land where you are, etc., I just haven't figured out a way to teach it online that I'm satisfied with yet. And this is currently here in Scotland is the only place where I will teach the Plant Spirit Reiki practitioner training at the moment. So, hey, if you want to invite me somewhere, of course I'll come. That'd be wonderful. But at the moment, this is where it's happening. And because it's a journey, it's an evolving kinship with the plants. It's not just really boom, just do a couple of days training and I know everything. It's really a journey, and it's a journey which I'm on, and I'm learning. I'm still learning. I'm still opening. And working it through, and it's expanding. The more people connect with it and open to the spirit of the plants, then we're learning from the plants in so many different ways. So this really came about because if you're somebody who's like, well, I like plants and I do Reiki or I do massage and I do this and I do that, and I just don't really know how to bring it all together, this is really what the training in part 2 is all about. It's really leading you, equipping you with skills, knowledge, wisdom, and really that inner guidance system. You're awakening your intuition. So you're like, what? This is the way that I'm going to do this. This is how I'm putting it all together in order to bring it into my professional practice with clients. So that's how it's all come about, and that's what it's for. So part 1, open to absolutely everybody who enjoys plants, who wants to connect with their gardens or have more of a relationship when they go on their dog walk, just to connect with trees and plants and flowers around, or know a bit about herbs, for example. And part 2 is for those of you who just want to go a little bit deeper, who want to train to bring it into a professional setting. Then that really is the training for you, with the follow-up Zoom. And also I'm giving you some access to my online courses as well if you're doing the part 1 and 2. So for more information about pricing, and there are accommodation options here, get in touch. But there's a PDF to download on the web page, which has got much more detail than I've been saying here about the syllabus and so on. So download that and get in touch. And yeah, I look forward to seeing you here in Scotland. Okay, thanks. Bye.